Hi there, I'm Adam Kirbas and this is my novel. Listen. Lucy Knight opens the door in to the school gym. It's a cold autumn day and the windows in the school gyms are all open, so Lucy feels a cold breeze, a cold autumn breeze. The school has newly started. It is the beginning of the new term. The students have returned from their holidays and they are struck with this disaster, with a murder in their school. Lucy looks around in the school gym. It is a big hall, but she immediately recognizes that the gym is not solely used for physical exercises, but as well as for theatrical performances. Therefore, there is a stage in the gym. The stage is on the left side. She walks in to the gym slowly, tries to measure up every part of it. And she immediately sees the crime scene. A dead body is in the middle of it. She sees that as a barrier to the crime scene, as well as to the dead body, there is what it seems to be a fence or a wall of broken glass. As if the broken glass on the floor of the gym would prevent anyone to be able to approach the dead body. Lucy Knight can see Joseph Parham now visibly. She sees that Joseph Parham, the music teacher, has no visible marks. He was not tortured, neither in his face nor in his whole body. She only sees that the two screws were turned from his hand through his upper leg on to the chair, on to a piano chair, to fix himself there, to bolt himself there. There are no traces that the body was moved or something. Lucy looks around. The floor of the gym is clean. He was probably carried here. But with what? She's not sure. And Joseph Parham, the victim, wears clothes suitable for this season, for this time of the year. So he's wearing a jeans, a pullover, and a thin jacket, as well as shoes. The killer did not remove, apparently, any one of his clothes. He's shaved. Joseph Parham, the victim, is shaved. But besides of that, it appears that the killer did not change anything in the appearance of the victim. Lucy Knight further investigates and sees that in front of Joseph Parham, in front of the victim, is a piano. It's one of those old ones. And she sees that the piano keys are all soaked in blood. There is no special key highlighted or left, so there is no special melody. The killer did not intend to somehow highlight a special melody, and apparently the piano keys are soaked in the blood of the victim. Then the wing of the piano is open, and Lucy has to tiptoe in order to see that inside the piano is what it appears, a dog body. It lies inside the piano, but the head is missing, and the dog body has bled in to the piano, and left and right Lucy sees blood has dripped from inside the piano. It has dripped on to the floor. And left and right from the victim, there is a wall. On this wall, there is a blood painting. Something was painted there with blood. And underneath this blood painting is the head of a dog. Probably the very same dog whose body is inside the piano. The dog's head is right underneath the blood painting, and it faces the observer. It faces Lucy Knight. And Lucy Knight can make out the breed of the dog. It is a German shepherd, a shepherd dog, a guardian. What does this crime scene mean? What is it supposed to convey? Lucy takes a couple of steps back. She tries to fathom the overall meaning of this crime scene. She immediately notices this is a different crime scene. The main purpose here is exhibition, meaning that the killer wants to show something. Lucy looks around. She immediately notices that the crime scene is not on the stage. Despite the fact that the school gym has a stage where theatrical performances are being held. And on the stage where the crime scene would be visible for everyone, for the audience, for every eye. Yet the crime scene here is not on the stage. It is right in front of the stage. This is in some operas the place of the orchestra. Maybe it is in association to this thought underneath the stage. Further, Lucy realizes that the piano, the dead body, and as well as the blood painting are somehow detached from each other. They are placed in a distance. This thing matters because as it appears, the piano, the dead body, and the painting seems to appear as if it would be a triangulation, and they appear as if they would be apart in the same distance. There is the same space between those three objects. So they are connected. They are connected through the space they share equally among each other. Lucy Knight cautiously approaches the blood painting on the wall next to the stage, and she can make out that this is supposed to resemble a piano. It is a scribble, or it was made very fastly, in a rush. It was apparently brushed with the blood of the dog. Yet Lucy can make out that it resembles a piano, and that it maybe mirrors the very same piano that is a little bit detached from it, stands in reality detached from it. This is not the natural place of the piano, so it was moved. Lucy again tries to make out some traces, some grinding marks on the floor where one could see whether the killer was alone, whether he could push it in one swoop inside the gym, or whether he had to struggle, which you could make out on the little tires of the piano. Yet again, there are no marks. There are no grinding marks, no traces. How did the killer move these objects? Lucy Monmouth realizes that this is meant to convey a certain image, that the killer wanted, I want to see something here. And she tries to approach the objects within the crime scene systematically. The first thing she walks through is the glass barrier, which appears to have the sole purpose to prevent anyone approaching the crime scene. It is a barrier of broken glass, as if one is doomed to watch it, as if this crime scene next and underneath the stage was meant to be staged and people to watch. But what stands glass for? Glass is an auxiliary object. It helps you to preserve something, to drink something, to conserve something. But glass has a shape. It shapes something, and it is being shaped. Glass, through the process of its manufacturing, has a certain shape. A certain shape you cannot escape. A tumbler or whatever it is, no matter how beautiful all those glasses are, in the end, it forces one to have a certain shape. Mostly it is a cylinder. This is due and through the manufacturing process. And here the glass was shattered in order that the shape was destroyed, and it was laying like a wall around the crime scene, as if one would mend fences, as if it was necessary to destroy the shape of something to be able to see through it, because glass can, in one hand, help you to see things, like in a glass. If someone wears glasses, and these glasses help someone to see something, to make able and to discern something, like an amplifier glass can help you to improve your sight. But on the other hand, glass can as well as distort something one is not able to see in reality, like in a zoo with dangerous animals. You watch them behind the glass. You see them and stare at them from outside their natural habitat. You're not part of their natural habitat. Glass, therefore, if you watch a dangerous snake in a zoo or wherever, is and can be a protection for you, but as well as it separates you from the animal inside, so that you do not see it and cannot recognize it and cannot see and perceive the life this animal lives in their natural habitat. So you are detached from it. So here in the crime scene, it appears like that the glass was mended, the fences were destroyed, the barrier which would otherwise have allowed you to see the object from a safe place, from a safe perspective, was destroyed, which forces every visitor and every viewer to share the same habitat with the object, with the animal, with the person. So there is no separation and barrier, protective barrier between the animal and the viewer. So glass in that sense here is actually not a barrier, but a sign that one's view is not distorted anymore. It is not amplified anymore. It is not beautified anymore. It is not changed, but as well as it is not protected anymore. So you have to look at it, gaze at it, stare at it with your own eyes. No distortion anymore. And you have to perceive it with your own eyes. Have to make and perceive a mental picture of it. Then the piano. What does a piano stand for? Piano in general has a huge variety of tones, of keys. It is not restrained like a guitar, which has only 6 strings, but a piano in comparison has a wide depth, has a huge variety of tones, which enables everyone to make a lot of melody changes, various melodies. This is the difference. But here on the crime scene, no special melody was picked out. The piano keys in their entirety were soaked in blood. This could mean that melody, music, or that the instrument as a whole is meant, and not a special melody or tone picked out. The killer did not see or did not want to convey a special melody which would indicate the meaning of this all. So the piano as a whole is in the center of the attention. And piano as a whole, music as a whole is a lifeblood. Already in the human antiquity, music played a crucial part, and back even to the Stone Age and before, many cave paintings gave an indication of it, that making music was key to humans, was key not only as a form of entertainment, but as well as had spiritual meaning, or it would some sort of bolster spiritual ceremonies. It would be unthinkable today, spiritual ceremonies without music, without something playing in the background. And music is therefore something to convey a message, but it is as well as a means to express something, as well as to express yourself. Music conveys a message, and it can be essential for many who assume that the only way to convey a message, a beautiful message whatsoever, is through music. So music is therefore like speech. It is like speaking. You express yourself, you express your emotions. Sometimes it is easier to be able to convey your emotions through music, through melody, and not only just talking, but which is undermined by a melody, or which is supported and buttressed by melody, which makes music and the depth and the variety of it essential. So the piano in this crime scene means speech. It is the speech as a whole. Then inside the piano, the dead, decapitated dog body. It is a shepherd, a German shepherd, and shepherds are mostly there to protect something, guard something, guard the sheep. The shepherd dogs, they are supportive. They support the shepherds. They support the shepherds to keep the sheep in order, to protect them from wolves or from other dangerous animals. And the shepherd dogs have a close resemblance with wolves, so that they are partly, you would say, partly attached to wolves or to the wolf world. Humans have domesticated dogs, especially wolves, for thousands of years. So I've changed them and made them their servants, subordinated them, broke them. So that today one can think and imagine that the dog is the best friend of man, at least. This is what is conveyed in the media and in the world. And it is indeed true. There is a close bond between dogs and man. And dogs, in a way, protect man's property. They guard them. Every robbery, every break-in whatsoever has to be aware of a dog. A dog can alarm anyone, alarm the owner of a property. A dog therefore guards a property. It is something you can sleep well with after midnight. But here the dog is separated in two parts. One part of the dog is the body which lies in the piano, in the speech, and with the wing of the piano open, it looks like as if the dog body would lie in the mouth of something, in the mouth of general speech. And the head of the dog lies underneath the blood painting. So there is a separation between head and body, between a spiritual world and the material world, because the dog's body is material in that sense, because with his 4 paws it stands in the world, while the spiritual part of the dog, his head, some sort of seems to protect something, seems to protect the piano, the resemblance of the real world, the blood-soaked world, and that the body of the dog would in a way be eaten by the speech. And this is something transgross, something that is changed, because, or something that is weird, because the dog is supposed to be a best friend of man. Therefore, you probably would not eat your best friend. You would not feed on them. But here, the dog's body is in the mouth of something, so that the speech, the melody, is in a way bolted to the world. It is part of the physical world, and that the guardian who is supposed to protect something is being eaten by this free speech, is being eaten by speech that is soaked in blood. Lucy Knight closely scrutinizes the painting, the blood painting, which seems to be a mirror, seems to be mirroring the very piano. What does blood mean? Blood can mean life, especially in human history, with oil paintings, many with cave paintings, sometimes and mostly blood was used for these cave paintings, animal blood, and the color red, mostly therefore many paintings, cave paintings are red because the first painters used animal blood or used any means to make these paintings. So blood can, in a way, mean life, or can mean to convey something as in these cave paintings. And most of the cave paintings are about animals, about prey which enables life. And back in the Stone Age and before, life was harsh, life was tough. It was a constant struggle for survival, and everything that ensured this survival therefore was valuable. Therefore, prey like mammoths or whatever, prey that could help you to maintain your life and to sustain your life was precious. Therefore, it was painted on the caves. Therefore, animals to this very day have a special role in human thinking, in human mythology, special way, because they were and they are to this very day necessary for human survival. But over the years and over generations, where survival or the war for survival and the struggle for survival became not imminent anymore. The struggle for survival nowadays is not visible anymore, or is not tense in that sense anymore, because we live in a society and where we can easily consume a lot of goods without having to worry about to make ends meet. So that the struggle for survival has some way or in a way or in another slipped into the background. Now more and more youth and young folks and people will not assume that prey, animals, mammoths, cows, pigs, whatsoever are essential for human survival, but rather that culture, that entertainment, friends, what have you, are essential for survival. And here in the crime scene, it is a piano which resembles in one hand music, melody, harmony, and through harmony a connection, and therefore as well as speech, how one is able to express oneself. So it is essential for humans to convey themselves, to convey their minds, their thinkings, their emotions. So more and more throughout the generations, meat or prey, which was very important for our ancestors, is now in the background. We are ensured of our survival. Now it is all about speech, about how to convey ourselves. It is about harmony, how we stand in the world, how we conceive and are being perceived by others in the world. And the dog seems to be guarding this blood painting. And blood, it is therefore essential for survival, to convey a message, to convey this free speech, but it is as well as part of harmony, of emotion, because blood is as well as an indication of sacrifice, of struggle. You have to bleed in that sense to ensure your survival. Back in the days, back when the first cave paintings were made, it was very likely that you could get killed while you are hunting for survival. And it is as well as likely that you could be burned by society and by speech if you express yourself freely or wrongly, so that you could be eaten up by it, or that you could be rebuffed if you, for example, express your love for someone. If you speak out and make for everyone visible the melody in your heart. So blood is as well as an indication for the daily struggle you have, the daily fear you have to have that you could get hurt, that you could die either figuratively or literally. So blood for that matter means high emotions, struggle, survival, but as well as passion for a special image, passion for a belief, passion for an idol which you are willing to sacrifice something. For example, there are many religions which chastise themselves, where worshippers chastise themselves in order to prove their worthiness, or in order to emulate one of their religious founders, and so on. So blood is therefore, can be considered therefore a bond between the image and ideal and the worshipper, the one who believes in this. And the dog, which seems to be guarding it, is rather not intended to ward off any attackers. It is not possible because the dog is detached from its body. Therefore, he does not stand in the world with his four paws. Rather, the dog is spiritual. And if a dog or if a guardian protects something, it is not only to ward off probable attackers, no, it is as well as to indicate something important that needs to be protected, and therefore it is valuable. So the guardian, the dog head, the spiritual protection of something means that something is here worth protecting. An image, an ideal, a free speech that in the speech melody that indicates that something very valuable is here, and blood, and it is soaked in blood because it is passion, because it is part of survival, because it is the only means for humans how to express themselves, like in cave paintings where humans painted on the cave walls that which was essential for their survival. And it looks like it is the same here. And then Lucinite looks at the dead body. As it seems no token was taken, no trophy whatsoever. Normally, many serial killers take trophies, either to some sort of remind themselves over and over again about the murder so that they relive this murder. Serial killers in a way live in a loop where they have to relive all their doings, all their murders they have committed, and they derive pleasure from all these mental loops. And those tokens they take with them, those trophies, they use to help them to remind their deeds. And it has to be a special object which has a special connection to the victim, which is in a way crucial for the identity of the victim, and the killer then thereafter possesses it and has in a way taken over part of the identity of the victim. This is what it is all about. A killer mostly lacks an own identity. Many serial killers walk through the world without ever drawing any attention, mostly because they lack any crucial character traits. They are in a way shallow inside. No one really sees them, or no one can see them, because they have no special character whatsoever, and they live through the victims in and due to taking over part of their lives, their objects. It can be a piece of clothes. The serial killer likes to wear, or any object which is dear to the victim. Then the murderers in a way emulate the victims, live through their assumed mindset. They even copy them occasionally, their movements. Therefore they watch their victims, they observe them, they survey them, and by they want to be like them. And they use these objects, these trophies, to not only relive the murder, but as well as to imagine themselves as being part of the victim, part of his mindset, so that they are specially connected to the victim, that they take over the identity of the victim. And mostly those trophies, they are built on emotions, on emotional feelings. Emotional feelings, not only the rush of a murder. No, this is not only about murder. No, but as well as about the emotions of the victim. A murderer then uses these trophies to imagine and relive the fear of the victim. And they relive it in a way that they themselves feel it through. Like if a victim felt fear, deep, mortifying fear, then the murderer, the psychopath, loves to feel the same fear, loves to feel what the victim has felt, loves to relive what the victim lived through, and he enjoys this. This is part of the psychopath's game and mindset, to not only relive his own deeds, but as well as to relive what his victim went through. This is the joy and thrill they have. Like he uses or likes to change perspective. In one time, the psychopath is the victim. He is the one who's been hunted. He is the one who has these unique character traits. He is the one who is the victim, and the victim has to be special in a way so that it draws attention. So the victim draws attention, and it had drawn the attention of the killer. Therefore, this makes the victim special, unique. And the killer then watches it, observes the victim, surveys it, and then emulates parts of it, imagines what it would be like to live like this victim, to be in his shoes, to feel the emotions. And a killer then needs all these objects, clothes, personal effects, to help him to imagine what it is to be like the victim. And later on, even after he has killed the person, the killer still imagines how it would be like to live like the victim. And parts of the character traits of the victim then go over to the killer. He absorbs it. But here, in this crime scene, it looks like nothing is missing. The victim wears all his clothes. He was not tortured whatsoever. So from outside, this all appears as if the main intention was not to punish someone. So one might have assumed that because this is because the victim was a teacher, that it might have been a former student or someone who felt mistreated, someone who did not got any attention, took revenge, because in a matter of fact, teachers closely resemble parents and are in a way parents in an institutional framework. And because of their positions, social standing in this institution, teachers have a lot of power over pupils. Power like to bestow attention, to bestow love, parental love, but as well as to omit love, take away love, take away attention. So that a pupil who felt that he or she would not deserve a special treatment could go out of its wits and take revenge. But this does not look like it. Because if someone tries to take revenge on a parent or on a father or whatsoever, he or she secretly admires this person, admires the father. This is what children mostly do when they admire one parent, is that they emulate them, that they want to be like him, that they take over parts of their speeches, their clothes, their sayings, their movements. That's why some children, they are perfect copies of their parents, because they take over their speeches, how they act, how they behave, what they find funny, what they abhor, and so on, taste. So this has a huge effect, has a huge psychological effect on children. And then if a child does not get love from a figure of authority, then it could lead to the fact that this pupil takes bloody revenge. But this again is not the case here, because if someone would have taken revenge, then it is most certainly that he would have taken something with him, at least all his clothes. Most certainly this person would have stripped this other person from all his clothes in order to wear them themselves, in order to adorn themselves, and in order to assume the identity of his or her teacher, to be like his or her teacher. This is how far admiration goes. But again, nothing is missing here. And it would have been most likely that this student would have tortured this teacher or this parental figure because of the love he or she did not receive. Here in this crime scene, it looks like that the teacher had no warm, or that the killer had no warm feelings toward the teacher at all. He didn't care. He just wanted to make something visible. Lucy tries to imagine how the killer thought, like what was his mindset. You listen to a stage. You are in to listen or see a theatrical performance. But what is really worth one's attention is not what you see on the stage. It is far from it. People's eyes are bolted on the stage. People do not see what is really going on, what is behind a glass, behind glass of exhibition, something that has been showcased. But because of the glass, you cannot see through it. People do not see through it. And you want to make it visible. Something is wrong here. The melody, the free speech, the speech that comes out of it is something distorted. As if the melody in its entirety would not fit. But you cannot see through it. People cannot see through it because there is a barrier which separates the viewer from the living. Therefore, people cannot see the real person behind the barrier. And you want them to see the real person. You want them to see with their real eyes, to watch what is going on, to listen what is going on. Therefore, you destroy this barrier. You need to destroy this barrier to make it visible for everyone what is going on behind the barrier. And behind the barrier, you make and expose that the material world, with speech, with melody, and the spiritual world with this blood painting, and the person, the identity, that this does not fit, that they are not connected with each other. You want to show the world that this is the real scene, this is the real performance. Something is fishy here. And that people need to heed. Here's something. That people need to be made aware of something. Something does not add up. You want everyone to see it. see who this person really is. Because through this separation of the material world, of the spiritual world, and of the human, of the person, it is for the first time possible that you can separate all three from each other and see the true face of someone. So you want to reveal something. Lucy more and more realizes that the killer wanted to reveal something, wanted to make them see. And again, these are those three patterns which draws a connection to the first victim. Eyes, which means you do not see properly. There is a barrier in front of the eyes of everyone. Then there is speech, music, melody. You do not hear properly. And there is again this dog body in the mouth of speech. So you are tongue tied. You cannot speak properly, or you are not able to express yourself properly. Lucy is thoughtful. What does this mean? And in what connection stands this victim to the first victim? Because Lucy is more and more sure that those two murders, that they are connected, inevitably connected.